Hello future toppers. Welcome to Streak initiative of Civilsdaily to ensure consistency in your day-to-day preparation. My name is Santosh Gupta and I will be taking up the prelims section for the Streak initiative. And today's topic is economics and we are going to solve certain questions based on the economics. If you have not joined the Streak initiative yet, go to the comment section and join it. It is free for all of you. And you can also join the Telegram group of Civilsdaily for this. Moving on to first question. This is on the cost push factors of inflation. So we have given four factors: rise in population, black money, rise in income, excessive government expenditure. So normally if you see the cost push factors, so cost will be that something that add to the value of any product. Like rise in population will increase the demand, black money will also increase the demand for certain goods, rise in income will also increase the demand, and excessive government expenditure will give more money into the hand of people. So these all factors are basically the demand pull factor. So here options will be none of the correct. But let's understand the types of inflation. You have three types: cost pushed inflation, demand pull inflation, and bottleneck. In cost push, we just discussed all the factors of production, that if cost of production increase, cost of land increase, cost of rent increases, and cost of labor increases, or cost of capital increases. So in that case the cost of the product will increase and hence the inflation. Demand pull, we have seen all the factors that mentioned, more money in the hands of people, rise in the income, rise in the government expenditure, even black money. So all these will be like the demand pull inflation. But normally in developed country we have only cost push or demand pull. But in India we also have one kind, that is bottleneck kind of inflation, which is due to the bottlenecks that exist in economy, that poor infrastructure, lack of processing of food products. That you see that more inflation in the food products because you do not have the efficient supply chain, we do not have the efficient infrastructure. So even there is a production and demand that is not much different, then still you have the inflation because the supply is not able to reach to the population in the manner it is desired. So you will have a temporary inflation of goods, which you can see more and more in the foods and other volatile sectors. So moving on to the next question, it is again on the inflation. Deflationary gap is a situation which arises when aggregate demand in economy exceeds the aggregate supply at the full employment level. Here full employment level is shows that there will be a maximum income to the people. So see, there can be two conditions: when aggregate demand exceed the aggregate supply, or aggregate supply exceed the aggregate demand. So when there is a more demand naturally from the more supply, so you will have the inflationary gap, that is the inflationary pressure. So first statement is not correct. So again in second it's just reverse of first. So when you have the less supply, when you have the less supply but more demand, so you will have inflationary gap. When you have the less demand but more supply, you will have the deflationary gap, that is the deflation for price of the any object will fall. When you have more demand than any supply, just imagine the situation of the mask or sanitizer. You had the more demand but less supply, so you had the inflationary gap. But you have more supply in certain commodity like vehicles or electronics but less demand, so their price will fall. So here none of them will be correct. Moving on to next question, it is in the on the relation between inflation and employment. Consider the both statement. A stagflation is a situation in which there is a high inflation rate along with the high rate of unemployment. So this is true. Stagflation is a condition when we have high employment and unemployment and high inflation. This is presently the situation of India because lots of unemployment due to structural factors like due to COVID. Like many people have lost the job, so unemployment and very high inflation is also going on there. So we have the situation of stagflation. Philip curve highlights the directly proportional relationship between inflation and unemployment. This is not true because Philip curves tell a inversely proportional relation between inflation and unemployment. So here your option 2 will be not correct, only 1 will be true. Let's understand this relation further, inflation and employment. So if you see, there is a inversely parabolic relation between high inflation. When there is a high inflation, low unemployment. So this is basically a logical thing to think, because if there is a high rate of inflation, there is a more money in the market, so employment can be situation will be less. So it is like that. But in India, it is said that even RBI report has said that this curve is not that much valid in India, because we have even have very low inflation, but will not have the very high unemployment rate, or vice versa. Because even during the corona, we see that inflation rate fall, but we had the very high unemployment. So all this situation, it is not very ideal equation. So moving on to the next question on the fiscal policy. It is on the consider the following statement. Contradictory fiscal policy involves cutting taxes or raising government spending to reduce the inflationary pressure in the economy. So contradictory, something which contracts the activity in the economy. So when you talk about the contradictory, so you will basically raising the tax. So less people in the hand of less money in the hand of people, so they will spend less. So contraction, and you will cut government expenditure. So less money in the hand of people, so that will be a contradictory. So this kind of policy is followed when growth is going on high and government try to withdraws from the market. It spends less. Expansionary fiscal policy adopted during the period of boom. That is also not true, because in time of boom, we just discussed that contradictory fiscal policy is done. So when expansionary fiscal policy will be done, when you have a situation of recession. Suppose 2009 recession came, we had a counter cyclical fiscal policy when government basically cut down the taxes, service tax were reduced, even some excise tax were reduced, income tax were reduced, so that people have the more money to spend. Government even increase the spending in Narega and other schemes, so that we will have more money, there will be more investment in economy, and that way you have the slowly the growth will coming back. So ideally, when in Keynesian economic model, when you have the recession, you will follow the counter cyclical, that is the uh, mm, expansionary policy. When you have the boom, you will follow the contradictory policy. Same goes with the monetary policy as well. But in some extreme cases, when economy has gone to much worse, business cycle is much worse, you will follow a pro-cyclical policy also. Such policy will followed in the Eurozone like Ireland and Portugal, etc., because their fiscal policy has gone to very worse. So basically, even the time of crisis, they impose austerity. They cut the pension, they cut the social spending, so that government fiscal situation improves. They had no longer money in the hand of government to spend on the economy. So they basically involved in the more cut. So they basically followed a pro-cyclical policy till the time situation improve. So this can happen also, but in through a Keynesian model, you will normally we follow counter-cyclical fiscal and monetary policy. So this is our last question on the fiscal drag. Fiscal drag is a concept where inflation and earning growth bring taxpayer out of the higher tax rate. So fiscal drag is a condition where inflation and earning push people's income into higher bracket. Suppose you are earning 4 lakhs, but inflation is more and earning is more, so you will go into the bracket of 5 lakhs. So you will basically have to pay 5% or 20% of the tax. So 6 lakh earning people go to 7 lakh or 10 lakh. So that way your tax liability will increase, but actual your earning is somewhat similar. Tax buoyancy is the result of fiscal drags. Yes. So even without the raising the tax rate, government's revenue increases because people's income are getting pushed into the higher bracket. So in that way, more money will be coming to the government hand. So fiscal drag is basically when your income without actually in rising getting into the higher bracket, and you are actually paying the higher tax rate. So first statement will not be true, but second will be true here. So thank you for watching today's session. If you have any doubt related to any questions, you can put in the comment. If you are the aspirants appearing to 2021, you can join our 60 days plan for 2021 or Super 25 program under me, or must remember to join the Streak initiative. Thank you.
Subscribe to our YouTube channel and press the bell icon on the YouTube app and never miss another update from Civilsdaily.